Hey guys, Marstingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so, coming soon, we do have the FRIEZA EZA for the LR Prime Battle. Becomes an insanely good unit, probably one of the best free-to-play units in the game. And coming up, not long after the release of this video, I'll probably put this up, I don't know, sometime within like 12 hours of the event coming out. We are going to be getting one of the final pieces that we need for his EZA, and that is the Extreme Z area for the Great Ape Bardock. So this is the Bardock that we have on Global as of right now. He doesn't have a TUR. He's fully farmable from a free-to-play SR and then awakens into this Great Ape Bardock. And then basically the same thing happened on JP. Simultaneously he gets a TUR awakening and then gets an EZA from this Extreme Z area. So post EZA he becomes a giant form category leader, key 4, 77% to stats, or AGL types 3 key and 50% to stats. His super attack raises attack and defense for 1 turn and does supreme damage. And then his passive, he gives himself 3 key, has attack and defense 77%. Then he gets an additional attack 77% when facing 2 or more enemies, and an additional 3 key and 77% attack when there is a Wicked Bloodline category enemy. So obviously that is going to be very useful for that FRIEZA EZA, because bear in mind this unit you have to fully EZA him and rainbow him to then use him on that team to take on FRIEZA. So he is going to be getting an extra buff in that event, which is good. And then he does get a little bit more attack against multiple enemies, which could be interesting. But I mean, his defense is not crazy high, so Super Battle Road is not necessarily like the best place to run him. But the funny thing is, this guy is like fully free to play. But if we look at, because he's so outdated, this is his main competition. This is the only other Great Ape Bardock in the game. And although he greatly raises attack for 1 turn, his passive is attack 100% when HP is 30% or above, and that's it. So no defense, and if you do happen to start the turn below 30% HP, even if you heal up, then no attack from his passive as well. So funnily enough, this guy does actually become the best Great Ape Bardock in the game. And then his Great Ape transformation, he actually does have a passive, which is key +1. So that is actually really useful. We've talked about this with some of the older Great Ape units that have these kind of things like Cumber and the LR Baby. Great Apes, it can be very annoying sometimes when they transform to actually get their super attacks, because they're not having any of their links activated or anything like that. So you always have to get 6 key for them. So at least this way it alleviates the issue a little bit, because you're only going to have to get 5 key with him to super attack when he transforms. And his transformation condition, according to this, is literally 10%. So at the start of every turn he has a 10% chance of transforming into a Great Ape. So overall the unit is okay. Obviously, like I said, the main reason most people will be doing him is because you have to use him for the Prime Battle FRIEZA EZA. Obviously once he's rainbowed, we will do a video showing him off on a couple of his teams. But let's have a look at the actual event. So typical Extreme Z area, just the 1 stage. You're going to have the 2 separate paths so you can get all the different medals. And as always, there is some pretty hefty restrictions on who you can bring. So first of all, you have to bring the Great Ape Bardock, and this is obviously the TUR version. So as soon as the event comes out, first thing, well, for me it's like 6:30 in the morning the event comes out. Some parts in America will obviously be the evening for you guys. So first things first, you have to awaken this guy into a TUR. So if we have a look here, what medals does he need? So he needs medals from the story event, that is where you farm the card from originally. So this event obviously comes back as well. So first things first, you have to farm him up to a TUR. And then you can only challenge the event with these certain characters. So you've got LR FRIEZA's on here, which is kind of funny because pre-EZA he's not very good. But like, you need to do this event to EZA the Bardock so you can even EZA the FRIEZA. So by the time you've EZA'd the FRIEZA, you would have already done this event. So you're not really going to be using his unawakened version, I would imagine. Especially because when we look down the line at the units that are available, you're very, very restricted when it comes to leader skill options. So like the Prime Battle FRIEZA before EZA is all types attack 7,000. Now obviously that makes it a little bit easier for you in terms of the team build, because you're not restricted to who you throw on there. But having such a low leader skill is going to be a lot more difficult for you to actually you know, actually beat the event. Now, bear in mind, as a friend lead, they give you the Extreme Z Awakened Bardock. So going back, of course, his leader skill is Giant Form and then the AGL types. So there's two different things you can do. Obviously pre-Easy 8, because he's not going to be fully Easy 8 obviously at the start of the event. You can, as you go through the stages, like start Easy 8ing him up the stages. But even once you TUR'd him, he has Giant Form 50% as his leader skill. So really, I think one of the easiest ways to do this is going to be to use him as your leader and then throw on all of these like Team Bardock units. And then one of the other units that's even on here is this World Tournament Bardock. He's a really old unit now, but obviously because he's AGL, that comes under the sub-lead for the Great Ape Bardock. And he does provide AGL and STR type key support. So obviously he's going to support the Great Ape Bardock, Tora, and obviously Fasha if you do bring the full Great Ape team. Otherwise, it gets a little bit more wonky if you're trying to fit them all under the same leader skill. So one thing you can do is bring this Bardock. So he's on the list. He has all types key +2 and attack and defense 20%. So that means it's a little bit easier for making the team in terms of you can just throw on anyone you want, essentially, and they will at least be under his leader skill. But of course, he's not under the Great Ape Bardock's leader skill. So I feel like this one is definitely... this one has the like potential to be quite janky with the team that you put together, because the friend lead Bardock is only giving Great Ape and AGL types a buff. So I do think the best build is just bringing your own AGL Bardock and then as many Great Ape or AGL units as you can. But this guy can fill in as a kind of all types leader. Or another way to do it is to bring the LR Ginyu Force unit, who obviously gives a massive buff. Well, I say massive, 100% is pretty good for free to play. Big buff to all the Ginyu Force members, which, as you can see, all of the free to play Ginyu Force members are on here. But you do have to bring Bardock on your team. So you'd essentially be bringing all of the Ginyu Force -1 person so that you can then bring Bardock. Berta is probably one you'd want to keep on the team because the friend Bardock that you're allowed to use does support AGL types, so he will at least be getting a little bit of an extra buff. Jace lets you see super attacks and is a support unit, so that's probably good, even though he does have type disadvantage. So I guess Raccoon is probably the one you would leave off, right? Because Guldo has type advantage, Berta's getting the support from the leader skill, and then the Int Ginyu is just probably the most solid out of all of the units on his own. So those are essentially your main options. You either run the Great Ape team with the odd AGL, like you could throw in Berta, I guess, because he's an AGL unit if you need to fill that final slot, or the World Tournament Bardock, or the Strike Kid Vegeta. Or you can go the Ginyu Force route, where you pretty much run the full Ginyu Force, but you have to have Great Ape Bardock there. Or you can run Physical Bardock. This guy has to be thrown on the team. And then obviously you have options like the STR Bardock. To be honest, none of the other ones outside of like the Ginyu Force setup or the Giant Ape setup are that good. So personally, I would say just bring your AGL Bardock and then the full Great Ape team, because even though the leader skill is not super high, the Extreme Z areas are not that difficult, and as you awaken your Bardock along the steps, his leader skill is eventually going to get better, his stats are going to get better, and of course these Great Ape units have been around for so long that I would imagine most people not only have them, but have like dupe paths unlocked in them. And of course, Great Ape units, you always have the potential that when you go into the fight, one of them is going to transform, and so then you're just going to be able to get most of the fight done without even having to risk losing any health, because you're just going to take them out while you're in your Great Ape stage. So overall, this one will be pretty easy. Of course, it is a typical Extreme Z area. People don't like them. The list of units you can use is quite restrictive, but unfortunately, it is what it is. You can get a stone and a bit of Zenny out of doing the event, but that is basically it, other than the medals to awaken him. So this guy, obviously, you should do him because you want to be able to do the Prime Battle FRIEZA, one of the best free-to-play units in the game. But honestly, outside of that, like, I don't really think he's that worth it. But we'll see how the opinion could change once we actually do the showcase for him when he's fully Easy Aid. I'm not going to bother like link leveling him or anything like that, but we can jump onto some of his better teams and see what sort of numbers he can put out, because he's on a lot of decent teams. He's on Low Class Warrior, so we can run the AGL Bardock team. He's on Goku Family, obviously. He's on All Out Struggle, and he's on Giant 8 Power, which at the moment we don't have like 170 leads for on Global, but he's on quite a few teams, so we can always see just how good he is. But I can't stress enough that even if you're never going to use him for anything else, you just want to get this guy done so that you can get the Prime Battle Frieza Extreme Z area done. I will do a proper video on preparing for this one, but we don't even know the specific date of when it's coming out yet, so I don't want to put out that video too early. And yeah, I'll do a proper in-depth guide for this once we know exactly when it's going to come out. So yeah, so get ready, make sure you do your Bardock, get him ready to go, and then you'll be good and ready for the Frieza. I think the Krillin EZA actually comes out tomorrow as well, but I'd have to double check. It's definitely going to come out when the event comes out, but I need to check that. But there you go. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the link to my Discord in the description. Feel free to join in the fun over there, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.